Okay, welcome to our meeting of August 10th. Roll call, we're all here. First item is the adoption of the board agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the board agenda?
Motion to adopt.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Public comment on closed session items. We have no members of the public here, so if one of you want to close the door, we will adjourn to closed session. We are going to take items slightly out of order for my colleagues here. We're going to listen to item 2.1, then 2.3, and then we will come back to 2.2. The reason we're doing that is those two items both involve our counsel, so she doesn't have to wait for us to do the others.
So for 2.1, Rob and I are going to step out.
Okay, we'll come get you.
And, we'll come back in for 2.2.
Okay. All right, we're just about ready to get started. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our August 10th school board meeting of the Roseville Joint Union High School District. Very coincidental, it's the first day of school, so I'm glad you guys had nothing else to do today but to hang out with us here at our board meeting. We're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'm now going to report that the board met in closed session prior to this meeting. During that closed session, the board took action on 2 items. The first was to hear an employee appeal and on that employee appeal, the board voted 5-0 to deny that appeal. The second item that we took action on was to approve a settlement agreement for a student in lieu of formal initiation of litigation. On that item, I don't remember who made the motion. Who made the motion on that one? Made a motion by Board Member Hirota, seconded, I believe, by Marla France, and that vote was 5-0 with nobody opposed. Pass that back to John. Announcement of meeting protocols. Everyone will have an opportunity to address the board on all of the issues that we have in front of us. You have a couple of different opportunities. The first is during public comment, which will be coming up shortly. That is for any items that are not on this board's agenda but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of this board. We encourage your public participation during the meeting, and we request civility and the use of courteous language. The board does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats directed at any meeting participant and/or district employee. If you have a complaint about a district employee, we have processes and procedures for that, but essentially you make that complaint to their supervisors or to the district office. We have comment cards. If you want to make a comment, fill out a comment card. The other opportunity for you to speak, I mentioned one, I forgot to mention the other. You'll have an opportunity to speak at any individual agenda item on that agenda item topic. If we have 10 or less, or 9 or less members wishing to speak on an item, which judging on the crowd, that will be the case, you'll have 3 minutes to address the board. If we have more, then that will be dropped to 90 seconds. And just as a reminder, this meeting is audio and video recorded and will be archived. Our first item of business is our introduction of our student board members. So we have Lindsay from Granite Bay High School. You have an opportunity to share with us anything that you would like. Oh, Mr. Sloan, you can do the introduction?
He's ready.
There's a green bag?
The picture of the people.
Picture of the beavers. One on the right.
Power to the people.
On the bottom.
There you go.
It is now green. I'd like to welcome Lindsay, and we're proud to have her represent Granite Bay High School as our student board member. She's one of 4 siblings, 2 of which are grads from Granite Bay, and the other one is a current student. She's a native Grizzly, has lived in the area her entire life. In addition to helping out a lot with student government, she also is in the dance program, has enjoyed Spanish, and is a member of our track team. She reads, paddleboards, loves the beach and the outdoors, and the current thing she's working on is the Leadership Summit for our students. Lindsay is an outstanding representation of what Granite Bay is, and we're proud to see her up here representing us whenever she's required to come. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Lindsay. As I mentioned earlier, if I forget to ask you your opinion, just blurt it out, and we'll make sure you get an opportunity to speak anytime. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us today? Push it up. There you
I
go.
would just like to say that I'm so excited to serve on this board and learn from you, but also take what I learned here to back to Granite Bay and improve my school there and our culture, and hopefully just help the students at my school feel heard. So I appreciate you guys. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate you being here, and we encourage your opinion on everything because we really do want to hear from the students on our campuses. Anybody have anything else they would like to say? All right, we're going to move on to board reports. I'll go ahead and start our board report. Let me see here. First thing I thought I'd do, I know I mentioned in a previous meeting that the board got together and reaffirmed our board objectives and is continuing to work on making clear the direction that we would like to see our district move forward on. And I thought that what a better way for us to do that than to continually remind everyone of what our objectives are, not just those of you, but really reminding ourselves. So today, I'm going to read our board objectives, and I would like to, in the future, ask each of my board members to take turns with me in reading the board objectives so that we can continue to serve our students and families in the best way possible. So our board got together about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and initially created this objective, and then we refined it a bit and reaffirmed it this year. So we have three main objectives with a couple of subpoints. The first objective is prepare all students for life, college, and career with high-quality academic opportunities and supporting students' physical, mental, and emotional health. The second is to work in partnerships with family and the community, realizing that school is a welcoming, safe environment that serves as the center of student learning, activities, athletics, and performing arts, and to really promote a sense of community in the school and the surrounding area. The third is to utilize effective governance and business practices by remaining open, transparent, and accountable to the community, and to serve as an employer of choice with the highest quality teachers and staff. So my hope is that as we go forward as a board, we will frame our discussions and our decisions around those objectives that we have set for the school district. Now, I've been gone 5 of the last 8 weeks, so there's not a lot that I've done until this week when I finally started getting back into the swing of things, and it's been a busy week. I know our administration and staff all gathered on Monday at Antelope High School for the first professional development day. Several of us were able to join that day. It was a wonderful day. Great to see all of our teachers in one spot and the energy that is generated when we get so many teachers who really believe in our students together. I really enjoyed my time there and the discussions I had with many of the administration and the teachers. Monday evening, I had the opportunity to join our school principals and the athletic directors from across the district for a dinner to discuss and prepare for the following day's activities around Inside Out coaching, and that was nice because we don't always get to meet all the activity directors, and so I really enjoyed that opportunity. Followed by Tuesday, when our staff hosted, thanks to Mel, a wonderful all-day event for coaches throughout our district. I had no idea we had so many coaches. I mean, we had over 250 coaches and assistant coaches gathered in one spot. The day was focused around Inside Out coaching, bringing the founders and the authors of that concept out here to our district to share their thoughts and their processes with our coaches. I think it's going to pay huge dividends as we move forward. I know this is not a new initiative, but it's a new approach to our initiative that we've had in our district. And as a parent and as a parent of athletes, I'm so excited that we're continuing to do this and prioritizing it in our district. And then today was an exciting day as well. I know John and I joined our colleagues from the Roseville City School District as they opened their newest elementary school, Westbrook Elementary. We had Becky and a bunch of her students from West Park High School out there. With members of the football team who organized the parking activities for the parents. We had the dance team welcoming people as they came in on the red carpet. We had student government there and leadership doing a bunch of things. It was just a really it was a good event for Roseville City, but I was really proud of all our students and the work that they did to welcome our future students to their new school. Then I got to go to the opening of the new Placer County Clerk Recorder Registrar of Voters, which has moved their main center of operations to Rockland, right off of Sunset Boulevard and 65. That's a big deal for our community, because now they don't have to drive all the way to Auburn to get the legal documents and to do the filings that they may be required to do. So today was a great day of celebration and openings, and now we get to kind of watch how those facilities are used moving forward. I'm just thrilled to be back in town and not in the heat and humidity of Arkansas and the bugs. So I'm happy to be here, looking forward to everything we're going to do this year, and now I'll share my time with everyone else to do their board reports, starting with our world traveler at the end.
Well, this world traveler doesn't know how to follow that. I just want to welcome everyone back for the first day of school, and I know at every level, people have worked hard to make it worthwhile and excellent for our students. And I want to welcome our new hires. I see a Roseville, I haven't met you yet, but I see our Roseville High School new principal, and welcome Lindsay to our gang here. And I'm going to pass it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. It's been a busy summer that concluded for me today with my kids' first day of school, which was really positive and exciting. I attended my first professional development day at Antelope High School on Monday. I left with a feeling of optimism to kick off the school year, and it was great to see all the teachers and all the energy, and the speaker was really good too. Wishing all students, teachers, and families all success in the new year. Thank you.
Julie.
Oh, my turn. Oh, that's right, you already were.
How could you forget?
That was a while ago. Sorry. Welcome back. It's great to be back. Welcome, Lindsay. Quick question. Where do you like to paddleboard most?
I like to go to Lake Natoma.
Okay.
That's my favorite spot, or Donner Lake.
Okay, right on. All right. And then welcome Principal Saren to the table. Looking forward to working with you. Did I say the last name correctly, Saren? Okay, great. Two, welcome to the table. And Dr. Dodson, Mel, welcome to the table. And that's who's at the table. But glad to be back. Looking forward to a great year. I have no kids here anymore. It's going to be a little different for me this year. So, yeah, well, he'll be gone in a month.
God, I'm looking forward to that. Oh, I mean,
No, I get to look at everything a little differently now. So, anyway, that's all I have.
All right. Welcome back. I guess same as everyone else, pretty much. I was at Professional Development Day, and that was really fun. I actually loved the speaker, was very excited, geeking out over Batman, and I really enjoyed it. But I have to say, Mrs. Voss, I really missed your guys' dance. The money, win, no matter what, whatever that song goes. All you gotta do is win, 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 no matter what. It is still on my workout playlist. I listened to it this week because I did miss that, and so I just wanted to tell you that. But I loved what we did instead. I loved who we had, but I was like, oh, those dance performances though were really memorable. Those will stay with me forever. My son used his own money to get not Roseville Tiger socks, but Tiger socks at the sock store at the mall. So you have a very spirited junior who loves being a Roseville Tiger and had a great first day. So he'll be excited to come and find you and meet you. I got to have a nice coffee with two just to get to know each other and hang out a little bit, and that's about all I've been up to. So I'm excited to jump back in and get back touring the campuses, and welcome to our new student board member, and that's about it.
thank you. We'll now move into our superintendent report and then cabinet reports right down the line.
All right, thank you. Again, welcome to Ashley as her first board meeting since it all happened during the summer. And from all the video clips, she fit right in, leading the school with spirit, the roar chant, dancing, and everything else. So she will definitely be doing a great job at Roseville High School, and we're glad she's here in her official capacity finally, because it all happened during the summer months. Welcome Mel to the kiddie table over here. So we're really squeezed. You know, Joe's just over there with the TV tray. We went by age down there, so it's Joe's at the end.
Hey, Brad, you got a boo.
All right. And last but not least, to our principals, you know, it's day one for kids, but they've been at it for several weeks now. And I know they are counting the minutes to the weekend to finally rest, but they've been going at it strong, probably been on campus since 5 this morning with senior sunrises and everything, and then now here to conclude the evening. So they've been tremendous on their campus, setting everything up and getting everything started the best we can with new hires and furniture and facilities and everything else that comes with it. And hopefully finished concession stands are close there too. Getting close, but I just want to commend their efforts to get the school year started, because it is a lot of work behind the scenes and it's been really hot. And then just to kind of follow up with what Pete said about the board objectives, is just one of my goals to really start the year working with our school sites is to continue to really seek out opportunities to improve our parent communication and transparency, where we can be more upfront, proactive versus reactive in communication. There's so many things that go on our school sites day in and day out that sometimes it can get lost. And so our hope is we can take one thing at a time and try to figure out ways to improve that and to reach our goal up there with the board objectives. So that's just one thing I wanted to share, because that'll be something we're going to be working on here the next few months. And again, welcome everybody back. New school year.
Mel.
I just want to say happy first day of school. I was able to make it out to 3 campuses today: Antelope, West Park, and Wood Creek. I want to thank all the admin and teaching teams. We've got incredible folks who work at our sites, and it showed first day. Kids were happy, our teachers were out there, our admin teams were out there. So I appreciate everybody making school a welcoming place for our students today. Thank you for all of the support for Inside Out. It was a huge day for us and the district coaching team on Tuesday. It was great to meet folks in person. Joe, the NFL veteran who came out and coached with his team, or trained with his team. I've just seen him via Zoom for the last few years, so it was nice to meet people actually face to face. And I just want to give you the 4 questions that they really hit with the coaches. And you can change the word coach to lead. So, why do I coach? Or why do I lead? Why do I coach the way that I do? Or why do I lead the way that I do? What does it feel to be led by me? And how do I define success? So really intense questions for our coaches to go through, and we've been working on these questions for a while, so it would be amazing if all of our coaches have purpose statements and understand the purpose of being out there with kids and the impact that they can make on student athletes. So appreciate all the support for Inside Out.
All right, 2.
Thank you. Welcome back to our students, families, principals, and educators. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone here. Board of Trustees, thank you for your warm welcome, for your conversations, your coaching, your advice, your coffee dates. And I know, Lumila, we're due for lunch date next week. Thank you so much. Want to thank Superintendent Becker. John, thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve the city I live in, my kids' school district, the teachers I love, who are so many of them who are also my neighbors, and principals. Boy, you've got one of the toughest jobs in the city, and I just want to say thank you for everything you do. I want to say that at about 3:21, I texted my daughter, who's an 11th grader at West Park, and I said, "How was your day?" And she responded with, "It was actually pretty good." And that's saying a lot from, as you know, from a 15-year-old. So kudos to all of our teachers, but in particular to our West Park staff and administration. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I did not honor and recognize our Ed Services team. To echo Superintendent Becker's words, we are going to do everything possible to keep it simple and focus on teaching and learning, and could not do it without the powerhouse of Ed Services. In particular, I want to call out by name Executive Director Jennifer Layton and Director Lisa Stanley, who has worked tirelessly in leading the Ed Services team in not only putting on a very successful PD Day 1 for almost 700 educators in Roseville Joint, but the week before having put on just an outstanding new staff teacher orientation. And then the week before that, an admin kickoff day. So Ed Services is here, and we're going to try to make sure that we focus on our students, our North Star for our city.
Brad.
So we had a great, I think, hiring season getting ready for the school year. So we have hired 50 certificated employees, 45 new teachers, 3 assistant principals, a new program specialist, a new school nurse. We still have a couple of vacancies that we're chasing down, but the hard work of the principals, the HR staff to get everybody onboarded. We've been working with Ed Services in terms of new staff orientation, as well as the admin kickoff. You saw 250 coaches. We've hired dozens of classified employees, including new coaches as well. So during the year, we'll process nearly 1,000 coaches will come through. And so having that kind of training, I think, is really important so that we can have some consistency. We have all recognized Principal Sarin. Officially, when we go to the consent agenda, that's when we'll actually approve her appointment. So she's not there yet, but I was on Roseville's campus today. Such a positive vibe, great energy, and not only, because we know she was an English teacher, assistant principal, instructional coach. We know her background, but Ashley was out there, Miss Principal Sarin was out there with just leading everybody in front with the teacher dance. The cheerleaders had her up, they lifted her up, the whole bit. So it was just a really positive day, and the number of staff members that came and said, it just feels different this year, and it feels good, was a testament to the impact she's had in such a short time. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you. Mr. Joe.
So I don't have a ton to add, but just wanted to highlight, Mr. Becker highlighted already the snack bars that are really, really close to being done. So if you're out and about, they are coming along very well. And the other piece, just if you're out at the school sites or you're talking to your students, ask them about the new vending machines. Cool. Those have been a year and a half, I think, in work and process. And so we are excited to finally get them up and running. Have a little kinks at the start, but overall, I think the students are very excited about them, and we're excited we're kind of a pioneer in this. There's not been many school districts who've been serving the amount of meals out of vending machines that we are. So we're excited for that new part of the district. So
Great, thank you. As you can see, a lot of energy in the district right now. No committee reports because we haven't been meeting. But speaking of energy, Natalie.
I'm really going to work on talking slower because those new teachers, I'm really sorry because I might have been like 10,000 miles per hour. So welcome back. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really tired, so I think that also helps. First day back, you forget how much energy you actually have to put out there, and I was just like, oh my goodness, okay. I took a small nap out in my car, but it's okay. I didn't drool that much. I don't think so. I think I owe you an apology. I think I made my first mistake as the president. Don't park in the back parking lot at a PD day to kind of walk yourself there. I never made there, so I never saw any of you, and I didn't realize that people didn't see me until my my counselor was like, "Oh, you are here. Our union president is actually here." I'm like, "Oh, womp, womp, womp." So I apologize. Not that you wanted to talk to me, but I mean, who doesn't want to? But anyway, okay. With that said, welcome back. I'm really excited to work this year. I had an opportunity to go to a union president's conference, and I was able to talk to many presidents in the state of California. And one thing I wanted to say I learned from that is I cannot say thank you and how much I value the relationship that we have, because hearing some horror stories, I'm like, I don't have that issue. Well, I hope I don't have that issue. I don't have that issue is we actually have a relationship. And we don't always agree. And sometimes we hear things and we don't always communicate. But I always try to tell, like, I had a conversation today with some of the Ed Service people. It's like, I'm not reactive. I want to know the story, and I really want to resolve issues, is because we're here to support the teachers, which is really what we put our life goal into, really helping these students. And I want to say thank you. I want to maintain that relationship. Welcome back. Super excited to see you all. I'm done.
Thank you. All right, our next item is public comment, but I have no cards, but don't despair. If you want to talk, I will let you. Not seeing anyone, we're going to move into our consent agenda. Is there any items on consent agenda that any members would like to pull? Hearing none, do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's consent, so we're going to do roll call, which I still haven't figured out why we do that, but we're going to do roll call. Marla?
Yes.
Ludmilla, me, yes.
Yes.
Julie, yes. Heidi, yes. That passes unanimously. I guess now we can say congratulations. Wait. Lindsay, yes. Okay. Now we can say congratulations to Principal Sarah. There's no going back now, so. All right, no public hearings. We are going to move into our action matters. And first one is 8.1, core textbook, second reading, 2.
Okay. Thank you, President Constant. As you just mentioned, this is our second reading. I'm going to ask our Executive Director, Jen Layton, to come up to answer any questions you and or our Board of Trustees might have of us.
Do you have anything to say before we see if there's questions?
I'm excited to do this.
All right, push the button with the person on it. What'd you say?
I am excited to be here and to answer any questions you have.
All right, well, we're going to start with Lindsay, since I went last with you last time. You have any questions on this item? Okay, Marla.
Okay, I have 2. I know. 2 knows what they are, but I don't know if she told you. First thing, when I looked at the books, they were workbooks. Are those consumables? Are we buying them every year?
No, actually, we're buying hard textbooks.
Okay.
Those are just our samples.
Those were the samples.
And we actually, you notice like the 11th grade had volume 1 and volume 2, all comes together in one.
Okay, all right. That was the easy one.
Okay, I'm ready.
So as I was looking through the books, and we received a number of really great comments.
Mm-hmm.
There was a theme in some cases where the question was, how is this teaching English? And I would look at everything in context, and so can you answer for me, what is English?
How long you have?
No, just short,
Okay.
short. I mean, no, because you can read one excerpt and say, well, how is this English? Or you can read one question, how is this teaching English? And so I'm just here for like the 10-sentence answer.
Okay.
10.
Let me
10.
see.
And
Let
then
me see what I can
two maybe can do.
pull out, and then I have my backup director too, who taught English for 24 years. I only taught it for 10, but the greatest part about teaching English is that the ability to communicate effectively in writing and in speech, and to evaluate the information that comes back to you. And so much of it now these days, right? To be able to figure out the credibility through research, through knowing the source, is the most important skill we can actually give our students. And I always appreciate that I was an English major, because it has taught me those kind of critical thinking skills. So I would say in general, that's English. And so the tools that we use are the writings in the textbook. And then that ability, what I love about teenagers, and maybe Lindsay agrees with me, teenagers have opinions, right? Lots of strong opinions. And so you get these kids in your classroom who have opinions, and that turns into some sort of an investigation, some sort of a critical question, an argumentative essay where they have to show the research and they have to prove. You always have to point back to the text. So I would say that's probably the most valuable skill that we teach in English. But English just encompasses, you know, you've got your nonfiction, you've got your fiction. Have I given you enough? Do you want me to keep going?
No, and I think I'm just trying to address concerns just in a broad spectrum, because I know I was told there's about 5 different publishers, and they're all probably going to be about the same.
Right.
So given your definition, the excerpts, the books that they're reading, it's almost secondary, because it really comes down to kids learning how to comprehend, communicate, analyze, and argue, and point back to.
And the Common Core standards, one of the most valuable skills in there is to be able to evaluate points of view and sources of information. And so that's why it's so critical to have all of these great pieces of literature and be able to talk about those and the points of view, and to develop your own opinion based on evidence and based on discussion and based on why was that character's point of view that way? What might they have been going through? What was happening in those times that would create that type of opinion or that view? Okay. So it's just a lot about thinking, and that's what I love about English.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions? Okay. No more questions unless we decide to ask you questions later.
Okay. I am now backing up.
All right. I have 2 cards from members of the public. First being Michelle Tong and second being Christina Munoz. Welcome. Yep, the person.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to say that I had a chance to look at the textbooks. I thought they were a really good, they had a good variety of different types of short stories, fiction, nonfiction, plays, different sorts of media, really good diverse authors. Also, I liked when I flipped through, I spent a lot of time on the 10th grade one because I have a 10th grader. I looked a lot of the grammar, how they worked in the grammar with all of the different short stories, teaching the kids that, which is still so important. And as an English major, I was just like, wow, I wish I could go back to high school. These books are great. But I know they're just in conjunction with our great teachers. And our teachers are the ones who chose these. Please vote to approve these. They have worked very hard on these, and we need to trust them. Thank you.
Christina. There's the person button.
The HMH Intro Literature Core textbooks being recommended lacks rigor. What is the goal with changing the core textbook, I ask? Is it to intentionally dumb down the children? I don't think that's the case. So the cover states it's an English book, but the material I read and discussed several things: environmental issues, climate change, feminism, psychology, mental illness, mental health. Where's the comprehensive English language arts? So each of you take time to research the best restaurant, barbecue recipe, your next vacation, because it's important to you, because you would like to have the best experience. So I'm just asking each of you to give the students the same level of effort and respect to truly review the materials before voting. Thank you.
Those are the only 2 comment cards I have. Is there anyone else that would like to address us on this item? It's an opportunity for any further questions. If anybody has any further questions, I'll just ask Jen, can you address the rigor issue or two, either one?
Well, I mean, there are classics in each of those textbooks. Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, all sort, I should probably bring Lisa Stanley up if you want more specifics, but there is a lot of rigor in those books and a lot of suggested books.
Let me say some things, and then
Okay.
Lisa, feel free to come on up. With regards to rigor and this particular adoption that we brought forward to you and to our community and to any other curriculum that would come forward, please remember that these are resources to help us ensure our students master the standards. So the rigor is in our standards. If we read our standards in both 9th, 10th, and all 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade English language arts standards, they call out specifically to students to be able to, as you had said earlier, Board Member Franz, to be able to analyze, to be able to evaluate, to be able to compare and contrast, citing evidence from the text. So the rigor is in our standards, and again, I just want to emphasize that these are resources to assisting our teachers to teaching our rigorous standards. And then Director Stanley, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I would only mention two. Sorry. Hello. Good
Hello.
evening. The other thing that I would add to what Assistant Superintendent Caros was mentioning is that engagement and rigor also comes from the discussions that are had around topics. One of the things that we're also looking for are resources that engage all of our students at all different levels. And rigor comes in not just the content and the reading, but I would suggest that it also comes in that engagement, right? That invitation to think critically. And a variety of topics lends itself to do that, right? To access for a number of different students so that all students from all walks, as they come into our classrooms, regardless of where they've come from or what their experiences have had, can find connections and can sort of develop their own points of view and their own ideas based on the information that they come. And again, this is just a tool, right? But it's those instructional materials that provide that foundation so that our teachers can really work the magic and engage those students and entice them to think more critically and at higher levels.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, so thank you very much. We'll now get into any commentary discussion. Julie.
Yeah, I think it goes off of what Assistant Superintendent Caros was mentioning, because it's something I think that we could all become more familiar with, and that is, what is the California State Standard? How do our texts match that standard? Where are we in terms of academic performance to that standard and with our students, right? This may be a percentage of this many are meeting the standard. This is how many we have to bring up to the standard. This is how many are over the standard. And then where are we exceeding those standards in rigor? So there's a lot of conversations around rigor at this board, and I think what's really important to note is, are we meeting the standard as the very first kind of check mark, right? And that's probably already produced in why those texts are recommended, because it meets the California State Standard. But familiarizing us and our community what those standards are, I think, is essential so that we stop going down a subjective approach and more towards an objective approach in meeting those standards. So that is a lot of work, I think, but I think it will help us all, educate us all on standards and be able to support, defend, and/or correct any perspective that is around why things are selected, why texts are selected. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not an expert in the area of curriculum, although I probably shouldn't tell folks at the university that. But I can tell you, for me, the most important thing is outcomes, and the outcomes I see from our students is very good. Whether I'm looking at my own children who've gone from our schools here, Oakmont, to colleges and have felt that college wasn't challenging because they learned most of what they were getting in college already going to Oakmont High School in our school district. Or when I look at our student board members, too early to tell with Lindsay yet, but with our student board members, we see such impressive grasp of the complex topics that we discuss and the communication skills. It's very evident that we're producing very well-educated students. So I tend to always fall back on that, and the way we got there is by having our ed services staff really go and find the best materials for our kids. Anybody else have any comments?
Just to say, I was able to get a lot of my questions answered already, so thank you for that time. It was helpful just to understand more information of what you've already explained tonight, and I didn't have any further questions, but it was helpful knowing what you touched on. You know, we're given 5 to 6 choices to pick from. They're all going to be very similar, and then what's happening in the classroom around that text and the outcomes, which you mentioned as well. So,
Lindsay, anything?
I would just like to say that, yeah, it's the teachers really make or help kids learn English. And so if this textbook can be used as a tool to help kids learn and analyze, I think learning to analyze is one of the most important impacts from English. And I've had amazing teachers at Granite Bay that have helped me do that and to think from a different perspective. And if these books will help teachers like lead discussions to help students like me be able to gain a better understanding of our world, I think that's important. So thank you.
Thank you. Any last comments before I entertain a motion? Seeing none, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion by Julie. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Heidi. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion itself, which is to approve this? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Did you give an aye in there? Okay. So that passes unanimously. We'll go on to our next item, which is item 8.2, approval of CSBA membership and services. Joe, I know this is is this yours, Joe? I don't know whose it is. John's. We have, the important part is we have the bottom line numbers in the delta. Is there anything else we need to know?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on this item? All right. No members of the public? Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve.
All right, Julie gets the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Marla, thank you.
He's looking away.
Yeah, some of us aren't big fans of the organization, but we do approve their budget because they provide some good services to us. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously. Our next item, 8.3, Roseville Adult School Teachers Salary Schedule Increase.
That is me.
Okay.
So I got the next couple here. The purpose of this item, typically we've been able to address this at the same time with our other negotiations, but we needed a little time to analyze the adult school budget, as it's generally it's a self-funding program, and we had to wait for the state budget to complete, as well as we needed time to analyze the financials in the adult school to figure out what we could afford. And so I would want to make one correction. It was mentioned in here that it's Fund 13 a few times. It's actually Fund 11. So if the board would entertain a motion to approve a 4% salary increase for the adult school out of Fund 11.
Any questions for Joe?
I'll move to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I'll give that one to Heidi. I didn't have any public comments, so if anyone, I have no more cards, so if on any of these items you want to talk, make sure you get my attention. With that, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. That passes unanimously. We'll now go to 8.4, Granite Bay High School roof replacement.
Yes, this item, we did a very similar project at Wood Creek a couple of years ago, and Granite Bay was built 2 years after Wood Creek. We've been patching roof leaks at Granite Bay for a number of years, and we're kind of at that point where we need to actually go in and get a full design and work at all the roofs on that campus. So it's a pretty expensive project, but we have funds set aside in deferred maintenance for projects such as these. And so staff is looking for approval to begin design, and we'd go out to bid on the improvements at the roof at Granite Bay High School.
Any questions? Lindsay, that's your school. You okay with the new roof? All right. Do I have a motion on this?
I move to approve.
Julie made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Marla made a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Now we are going to go to the long-awaited stadium support buildings for Antelope, Granite Bay, Oakmont, Roseville, and Wood Creek, all of them.
Yep. So these are, we have one contract that was for all 5 of those buildings. And so we've been encountering issues along the way and additional things we had to address. And so this is change order number 3. I won't go through the list of 14 items, but the majority of them were increased costs. There are a few in there that we found some savings, but the total amount of the change order is $160,777. And we're nearing completion of these projects, hopefully in the next week or 2. We may miss some of the first football games, but hopefully by the second week or so, we should be ready at all of our sites. So staff recommends approval of change order number 3.
I have to make a comment.
Sure. They're very expensive.
$15 million for 5 brick buildings. That's my comment. I just wonder, how expensive is a hot dog going to be at a football game now? Any questions for Joe?
It's got a $9,000 refund in there.
Yeah, after how many increases? I'll never look at a snack bar the same.
I move to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. The next one is approval of superintendent's contract. I'm going to start with this. We had the fortunate experience of hiring John Becker just about 2 years ago. And when we hired John, we talked to him about a number of things. And one of those is that we didn't pick someone who'd been a superintendent before. We picked someone who was an executive director, and we did that intentionally. And we told him we really wanted to work with him, and came up with a plan for professional development that was included in his contract. And quite frankly, we as tax-paying citizens got an excellent deal when we hired him because we negotiated the contract below market. And we told him, look, you really need to show us your worth and show us how you operate. And I think that we did a great job in selecting our superintendent, and we've told him so a number of times. And now we have a contract in front of us that reflects the market rates for superintendents in our area. And I just wanted to bring that up because I know a lot of people contact us talking about the money we're spending, but when we spend money, it's because we're making investments in our district and in our students and in their education. And I personally think that we have got one heck of a deal when we got Mr. Becker. So that's my foundational comments. Does anyone else have any comments or questions related to the contract?
I just want to thank you for pulling this all together and trying to align it to some of the practices we have. You did a great job. Thank you for doing that. It was a lot of work, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
I move to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion or comments on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That passes unanimously. Congratulations, we're going to keep you. All right. All right, we have just a couple of reports before we all get to go home. The first one is our annual report for debt issuance and management, policy 3470.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into many details unless the board has any questions. I will highlight one of the things that I look forward to is when I see the projected tax rates go down. And you can see, particularly in 2024, as some of the older bonds get paid off, that the dollar amount goes from around like $36 down to like $25 per 100,000 in assessed value. So that's good news. And as the property values continue to grow in Roseville, we'll see these go down even further. One of the things I will mention, it's in the report a little bit, is because of the higher interest rates, there's probably not going to be much availability for refinancing these for a number of years, but I was really glad that going back the last 10 years, we were able to refinance a lot of our bonds to really low interest rates and lock them in. And I'm really glad we did that because interest rates are much higher now, and it's probably going to be many years before we'll get an opportunity to refinance again. So, but with that, the report's there for your reading pleasure, but also happy to answer any questions.
So how often do you see a government spend a bunch of money and then lower your taxes all in the same meeting?
Yeah.
Amazing. Any questions? All right, do I have a motion? Oh, we don't need a motion on this. Never mind, it's just informational. We are now going to go on to our alternative school survey report. And this is two, right?
Thank you. So Ed Code requires us to present and share with you our alternative high school evaluation report as submitted to the State Superintendent Public of Instruction. And so tonight we have Principal Ross Fernandez here. Ross, if you can come up to.
Oh, he can walk.
Ross, if you don't mind just sharing some overall arching themes with regards to the feedback we received from our students and parents, and then we are more than welcome to answer your questions.
Thank you. Welcome.
I got the green. The results, pretty much they just survey students, parents, and staff in regards to a variety of things, rigor of the school, culture of the school, communication skills, et cetera. Most of the parents, as students and staff, pretty much stated they feel heard. We communicate. The rigor levels are what they feel match state standards. And overall, it was pretty positive. I think a lot of times it's also just looking to the past and seeing if the standards are still there. And then we also, even outside this survey that is required, we do a lot of empathy interviews with our students and our families and stuff. We bring them in, we answer a lot of questions, we type everything up. Yes, we're going to submit it to the WASC reports that are coming up this year, just to make sure that we're also hearing the voice, because I think surveys are pretty easy to fill out, but sometimes the details that you get from families usually help guide our school. So that pretty much is a summation of the report.
All right, any questions for Ross or two?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh. I was just going to say, it looked overall really positive. I know you said you were sort of positive, but very positive. I'm wondering, any action items coming out of it? Because I know that everything was 3 and above, but some had more 3s maybe than others. I'm wondering if you...
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're consistently working on is always just increasing the rigor of things. How much can we sort of move? And it's not just with the independent side, even though the survey is for independence, we're also looking at that from the Adelante component. I think the other part is anytime I see communication, if I don't see 100% on that side, it's how do we actually improve? So one of the goals that we have this year is how to get more parent participation in it, because some of the parent numbers were a little low on the survey. So I think the outreach this year has actually been pretty good. We had our surveys, our parent orientations the other day, and we had, I think it was 85% of Adelante families actually showed up, and we had over 90% of independence families. And then with all the students showing up today, it sort of shows that it's hitting there. So I think it's communication and rigor are the things, but I mean, that's something that schools always work on.
Julie.
Yeah, I was really thrilled to see this, because I think this survey responses, even though you don't think there's many parents, I felt like that was a good amount of parents that participated in that. And from, kids, right? You get this good of survey results, you got to figure out that's a major win. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I thought it was really important to note a couple of pieces in here about the school's culture that was really positive. So. That's wonderful. So congratulations. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
Okay, that is also just an informational item, so thank you very much. Our second to last item is staff comments. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add from earlier comments? All right. Our final item is pending agenda items. In your packet are all the things that we hope to accomplish over the next few months. If there's something there that you don't see, let us know, and we can make sure we work to get it on the agenda. Our last final item is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Nope, I guess we're staying. Was that you, Heidi? Yes. I heard a motion. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Second. Anyone opposed? Let's go home. Thanks, everyone.
I don't know how we would talk about it in the future, and it's a while to go yet, but it'll come fast. I would like to have the conversation about revisiting the date and time of our
Before December?
No, I'm just kind of socializing it with you, so I don't know.